Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Out now from DC Comics, it's Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales. Franco of Superman Adventures, Aw Yeah Comics, and Tiny Titans fame presents 15 tales narrated by Dead Man himself, Boston Brand, that will shock and delight horror fans of all ages. 15 stories created by Franco and 15 amazing artists presenting bold art and great storytelling. This is a great present for the fall and holiday seasons to young readers or to share with your children at nighttime story time. The book is out now from DC Comics. It's Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales. Pick up your copy online or your favorite comic store today. Welcome back, everybody. We've been away for a while, but we're back with a brand new Trek Watch and a week in review on Sci-Fi TV and film. And, of course, we'll do a little bit of catch-up because it has been a couple of weeks. John Suntra's here. Franco is here. He's got his microphone off. Mitch is here. And Wayne is here. Hi. Hi. Your microphone's still off, Francis.
He's deaf.
We just gave you a whole new... Are you doing that on purpose, dumbass? Yes, you are. You must be. So I want to know what you thought of the commercial, man. I just played your commercial. All right, Frank.
Oh, wow. He got booted.
No, he didn't get booted, but
he's back. Black Adam.
There we go. Let's see if he's okay now.
Oh, no, right. I think he's frozen in carbonite.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. It's not going to go on the audio, but all right. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
What now?
You can hear me?
Yes.
I was saying that was my favoriteest commercial you ever ran on Word Balloon ever.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we tried.
Yeah.
A nice one for you. We're going to break in the middle for Fantastic Four, Alex Ross, because they're still paying the bills as well.
Oh, yeah.
But guys, we got to catch up, and we should start with Star Trek because now do we get the debut of Prodigy last week, but we got the wrap-up to Lower Decks. And everybody caught up on both shows?
Yes.
Not Prodigy, but the other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Man, I'll tell you, I won't spoil it for you, Mitch, but Prodigy, I thought, had a great start. Wade and I were talking about it off the air.
I was at the airport in Toronto when we were talking about it.
And you catch up with 2 episodes tomorrow. So that's cool. Well, let's start with Lower Decks then. They wrapped up their season. And I'll honestly say, because you guys know I've been a harsh critic, I think this season was a vast improvement. There were more episodes I liked rather than that I didn't like. And I thought it was a good final episode. I was surprised there was no cliffhanger per se as far as the final episode. But there are a couple leftover questions that will carry over likely to next season and everything. But no, I thought it ended well. And again, I think they've fixed a lot of the things I didn't like about it. Thoughts?
I think it was telegraphed, though, that you knew that the archaeologist was going to come back and the Mariner thing.
Everything.
But you know what?
So what? So what?
What exactly did she do with that reporter? She's like, she told everything. And then everybody was so pissed at her that she ran off and,
Well, because they expected her to be the one to tell all the bad stories about what happened on the Cerritos. But she didn't say anything that was bad. That's the thing, is that she was actually the only one that said all the good stuff about what it is to be in Starfleet and on the Cerritos.
Right.
Well, and then they were gonna wipe out all the California class ships. I was like, really?
The evil admiral. I mean, that's okay.
Admiral. Yeah.
That's a common Star Trek trope. I didn't mind that. That's okay. It's like the guy who was Riker's captain on the Pegasus and created the Federation cloaking device and everything against treaty rules and everything. I mean, no, it's all right. Or the guy the other guy, the other admiral that was on the side of the Cardassians when Bajor was coming out of the occupation when we first meet Ensign Rowe.
Ted Danson when he he turned
Orville.
against Yorville.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right.
wrong
Yeah.
Star Trek show.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but close. Yeah, same trope. No, you're not wrong. Insurrection. Oh God, that really
Anthony
good
Zerbe.
Yes, I love that guy. Always a bad guy. Never your next door neighbor that's ready to loan you a garden hose or something. Anthony.
No, he's got
always
those
people. Always
fucked up eyebrows. He's Greek,
Yes.
you know. You got to watch out for those guys.
That's what I heard.
The Greeks.
That's what I heard.
Gotta watch out for
The
those.
Greeks.
So, but no, honestly, and also, I've been talking about with other friends that watch. Dowd agrees. Star Trek V. There you go. So yeah. What was I going to say? I don't even remember my point. That shows you how insignificant it was.
Well, that they turned the corner and they're actually writing good stories that they're not solely focusing on Mariner.
Yes.
But they're focusing on the other characters and giving them a lot more to bring out their characters, like Zax with the baby bear stuff with Boimler.
No,
three seasons.
Well, and that's but honestly, Mitch, that's okay.
But I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about that. If that was on TV in the old days, I don't think it would have lasted 3 seasons. No. It wouldn't. They wouldn't have let it run as long, and it probably would have been canceled out before then.
I agree.
So, maybe they're playing with their streaming.
Well, that's Francis. You hit the nail on the head. It's a different world, and when we talk about a different show, I want to get into that because it's not just over-the-air numbers. It is how's it doing on streaming, and streaming, much like basic cable shows like FX shows, are given more air to breathe than if you just debut on the traditional 4 over-the-air networks. And that's good. Supergirl got a great reprieve years ago when it went from CBS to CW. And, if it stayed on CBS, we probably would have only had 1 season instead of the 6 that we got on the CW and stuff. And, so I think with streaming, there's a lot more allowances. Think of all the shows that were on either basic cable or network that then jumped to Netflix or other streamers and got another couple seasons out of it.
Because it's animated, I wonder how fast the reactionary time is. Like, they knew that they got a lot of heat from the first season and the second season, besides us bitching about it. But do you think they already have like a roadmap? Because they got to animate this almost like 10 months ahead of time before they even. I don't know how quick it is.
But also,
nowadays,
you're right. But also, as you know, it was already greenlit for a second season when the first season was still running. And actually, I don't know, Mitch. I kind of think we're the exceptions. I think most people do like Lower Decks and just liked it because it was light and funny, or they thought it was funny. We didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah.
But again, at least it found its footing. It corrected. Any show that manages as quickly, compare Lower Decks to Discovery, which I think is still its own worst enemy. Like Wayne said earlier and stuff, I think the characters have developed, the main 4 have developed more, and also they moved away from the regular bridge crew is dealing with the typical kind of Star Trek calamity, and their problem is they want to get Romulan ale and they don't know where to buy Romulan ale and stuff. So we're getting almost a conflicting B story. And it's like, no, I'm kind of glad they threw that away, and we're getting more story integration with the bridge crew and the Lower Decks people and stuff. I think it's much better.
I'm wondering how much non-advertising they do, because something interesting happened over the weekend. I read an interview with Henry Selig, the director of Nightmare Before Christmas, and how he's a little upset. Not upset, but he wishes he's gotten more credit because 3 weeks before Nightmare Before Christmas came out, they slapped Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas on it because the success he was having with those other movies. So Henry Selig just came out with a movie, and it was on Netflix. It's on Netflix, and it's, from what I understand, it's really, really good. Written and produced by Jordan Peele, and directed by Selig. But I've never heard of this movie until I came across that article in one of my cartoon Sci-Fi jaunts. But I haven't seen that movie being advertised outside of things. I haven't really seen Lower Decks being advertised outside of like Comic-Con or something like that. So I wonder, where their audience is coming from. Are people already on the streaming service and they're watching this stuff? Or because not everybody has Paramount, not everybody has Peacock, not everybody has these other things. So I'm wondering how well what numbers they're actually doing.
And we'll never find out because they won't unless they're incredibly amazing. Don't count on the numbers ever being released. But I do think that there is that built-in Star Trek audience that jumped at Paramount Plus and even All Access CBS when they were first created. So yeah, I do think it is within the Star Trek community that the positive and negative stuff is coming from. But yeah, I don't know. Was the Nightmare Before Christmas movie, is this that prequel that they've been talking about, or is it a completely different idea that this guy directed and Jordan Peele produced?
No, this is a different idea altogether. Right. It has nothing to do with Nightmare Before Christmas. It was just the same director, and they were asking him about, because Tim Burton gets all the credit for Nightmare Before Christmas, but Selig directed it. So I mean, yeah.
You know what's interesting? You said that about who's watching it. I think we said it before. You know how like Disney doesn't put any of their shows out on Blu-ray or DVD and stuff, but yet I've seen Discovery because Ordway doesn't have Paramount Plus, and he says, "Oh, I just bought season 4 of whatever Discovery, and my daughter and I watched it." And I go, "You buy that?" He goes, "Yeah, it's like $30." And I go, "Well, if you consider how much you pay every month for Paramount over the year, if you just want to buy," but then Lower Decks came out too. And I'm like, oh, see, they are making it available to people outside of the subscribers because they know there's a big Star Trek audience there, as opposed to the Marvel.
Disney, who can afford it.
Yeah, and as opposed to Disney, which we're like, no, we're not giving away Star Wars or Marvel. You got to subscribe to us because we want the numbers and stuff. So, yeah, maybe they're doing a whole different approach.
Is nothing like Mandalorian Blu-rays aren't available or anything?
No.
Really interesting.
Nothing from Disney.
Wasn't the Mandalorian, I think, just released or going to be released? Or
you know what they put out? Oddly enough, they put out the
Boba Fett. That's
Book
what they
of
did.
Boba Fett.
It
was at Walmart, and it was like a Blu-ray, not a Blu-ray. It was a regular DVD. It wasn't even a Blu-ray. I'm like, what the hell? But they never did the Mandalorian season 1 and 2. They never did any of the Marvel.
Because nobody outside of Disney Plus knows what the Mandalorian is, probably.
Right, but they know who Boba Fett is because it's been around for so long. Yeah,
Don't you think? And again, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think, given the positive feedback that the Mandalorian has had since day one, that the word is out. Again,
you would think,
you can't access it unless you have Disney Plus. But I bet people, I mean, good Lord, even that trailer and the fact that, the Mandalorian's armor and Boba Fett's armor are so similar and everything.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
And it's weird. Within the Boba Fett show, they did like 2 or 3 episodes of the Mandalorian. So yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
back to Star Trek.
Honestly, another here. Doubt has a comment, and Doubt says, "I'm part of the Disney Movie Club, Columbia House like movie club. Disney never released any of the Disney Plus shows on either DVD or Blu-ray on their catalog for the Disney Movie Club." And he says, outside of comics and the Paramount streamer and the Star Trek and Paramount YouTube channels, I honestly never see anything about Lower Decks. Yeah. That's right. And of course, Wayne sampled the IDW Lower Decks comic. I, in the meantime, have had the opportunity to talk to Jackson Lansing, who with Colin Kelly is writing the brand new IDW regular Star Trek comic. And I got a cover somewhere. Stand by.
Oh, the Deep Space Nine one that came out last week? I picked that up today.
Here's the alternate cover as a regular cover.
That's the one I got.
And here's the, like, you can see a couple of callbacks, and not just Cisco, but Crusher and Data. Guys, I'm telling you, and this really, I think, beyond talking to Jackson, it's a great comic. I mean, Jackson and Colin, they get it. They get it so well. It's, without spoiling too much, it's Cisco 3 years after the last Deep Space Nine episode. He comes out of the wormhole, and the prophets have given him a message that once he became corporeal, he doesn't remember it quite well. Kind of like Quantum Leap, his Swiss cheese memory. But essentially, all the higher beings of Star Trek are dying. And Apollo gets a call back, just in conversation. and the crystalline entities make an appearance, and the prophets themselves. And it's kind of like Thor, Love and Thunder, and the God Killer comic, that there's some sort of alien race or being that is killing the gods of Star Trek and stuff. That's the general thing. And Cisco needs a ship, and he goes to Picard. Great scene. And Picard's like, well, yes, but I get to choose part of your crew, and that's why Data and Crusher.
Oh,
Who made him boss?
exactly.
Well, it's funny because that's exactly what Picard says. Picard's like, why are you coming to me? And he's like, because you carry weight with the brass, and I'm just out of the wormhole. And Picard's like, yes, you are just out of the wormhole. We're not sure you're human anymore. And,
Snap.
Yeah. So, well, and also, very nice, Francis. No, it's, he's like, hey, you didn't like me when you took over Deep Space Nine. So why should I trust you now? And it's very, honestly, you hear their voices. There are other surprises. Mitch, you read it?
No, I bought it today.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet.
I can't wait until
I will read
next
it.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody actually came in the shop today looking for the Lower Decks comic. I was like, oh, get out. And they said, we didn't order it. We didn't think anybody wanted it. I go, I know a guy who bought it. Go get it. There's no issue 2 though, right? Because I was trying to tell him, I think it was a one shot.
No, wrong. No, it's an ongoing series.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And further, it's going to lead to another series. Hold on. Wesley also said he enjoyed the comic. He also picked up the David Aja cover as well as the A cover, and Doubt liked it. And here I'll show you an image that'll show you where it's going, because this was the teaser at the end of issue 2 for the cover, or the cover for issue 2 that's at the end of issue 1. Wham!
Oh, who's that guy?
I don't know.
It's one of those, what do you call it?
Kardashian.
J.K. Woodward.
Yeah.
It's a J.K. Woodward painting, absolutely.
Kardashian, yeah.
Yes, for my audio audience, it is Worf shaking hands with Francisco, because it's going to lead to, in February of 2023, another Star Trek comic called Star Trek Defiant. And my buddy Chris Cantwell is writing that book, and I'm talking to him on Friday afternoon on Word Balloon Live. So we'll get more. At New York, they've already teased who is on Worf's crew. I'm telling you, these guys get it. And I know, Jesus, every time I talk to Chris, he is surrounded by his Star Trek action figures. And if you follow him on Twitter, half of his tweets are about Star Trek. He loves Star Trek. So,
Nerd.
The only thing about this last episode with Lower Decks that I thought they tied up the Rutherford story too quickly. They should have prolonged it a bit. We didn't need to find out that it was the Admiral that was behind everything so quickly.
Yeah, I would have liked a more involved mystery as well about Rutherford, but it is what it is. But we still have Boimler, Boimler's double, joining Section 31, and we still have all the artificial intelligences with Peanut Hamper planning to gang up, so that's going to probably play out next year. I thought it was very again.
I like that Picard was funding the archaeologist.
That was hilarious. Absolutely. So no, I mean, again, I'm like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, there's some things like the wrapping up of the Rutherford story quickly was something I could forgive because it was actually the episodes were good. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll let that one go. But
and the fact that he finally gets the chance to eject the warp core.
Yeah.
Yes, Jack's
tears in his eyes.
Yes, that was funny. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm like, all right, it's just that angry face with the tear coming down his eye. That was great. He reminds me of the old Hollywood actor Ward Bond, who's in a million John Ford movies and was the wagon master on the early '60s Western wagon train, and quite the asshole apparently in real life. But whatever, he was friends with John Wayne. So, Doubt says that California class ships versus the Texas class was fun and exciting. Sure. And I didn't even mind. I've seen other people go, once again, we've got artificial intelligence in Star Trek, being corrupted and whatever. And I'm like, I don't disagree, but it's a recognizable trope. They handled it a hell of a lot better than Discovery did. That's all I know. I'm gonna blow my nose and turn my microphone off. While
Oh
I'm
yeah. Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
sexy.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good.
Sex. Ooh,
So
get
yeah,
it all out.
I
Yeah.
cannot believe I'm saying that I'm liking Lower Decks.
More than the Orville.
Way more than. Oh yeah. Oh come on. That was never in doubt, Wayne. That was never ever in doubt.
I will admit. Again, I won't spoil. I gotta say, I'm still enjoying Prodigy more than I am Lower Decks because it is the purest Star Trek show of
good.
all the Star Treks.
Yep.
It is really good. And again, Wayne,
And it's
Mitch,
so
I
far
won't
away
spoil
from
it.
Star Trek.
It's so what?
It's so far away from other Star Trek. I mean, physically removed from where Starfleet is and all that other stuff.
That's fair.
But I'm loving it. I watched that episode. Who didn't see it? Wayne?
No, I
didn't
saw
see
it.
it.
Mitch didn't see it.
Oh, come on, Mitch. What are you doing?
I don't know. I thought it was still a kid's show. So
it's good.
You're missing.
No, it's Star Trek.
I mean, honestly, did you not watch the first half of the season? From
I
last
watched all of them last year. I haven't watched it since it's come back.
Okay, because man, I mean, honestly, it
Good.
gets deeper. It gets deeper into the what happened to Chakotay mystery. You see a lot more of Admiral Janeway, not the hologram, but real Admiral Janeway. And yeah, it's I'm blown away at how adult, in air quotes, the stories are for being a show that is on Nickelodeon. Yeah,
because John and I were talking about that when I was at the airport. I just can't believe that it's a better show than Discovery.
Hands down. Hands down.
And like, if you look at it, it's not just for kids; it's for adults too.
Yeah.
But they write a better show than what Discovery could ever wite.
Mitch, if you watch it and pretend it's live action instead of animated,
it'll blow your mind, man. I think I told Wayne this. Rock, the child actor and character. Well, it's not her fault, the actress, but Rock is still like the child, the youngest member of the cast, and kind of talks like a young child, and whatever, it is what it is, and ultimately it is still a kid's show. But I like Dal, I like Gwen, I like the Medusan, and the Tellarite is a little one jokey a little bit, but other than that, no, I think Dal and Gwen are certainly.
Yeah, but the fact that this has been on one season or half a season so far, and we know all the characters rather than 5 years of Discovery.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, it's a smarter story than it deserves to be, and that amazes me. And I keep telling.
Yes, but no, it deserves it because it is such a good story. Yeah, but you're right. Yep.
But yeah, it's just. I mean, honestly, I as we all love the original Filmation cartoon of the original series.
Yeah.
This is, I would even say, dare I say it, a little bit better. And not as kiddie as that show obviously was, but it's obvious the people that are writing it really, really get and love Star Trek. That's all we ask.
And not just that they like Star Trek, that they like characterization. That they make characters that you want to follow.
Is it more adult than Lower Decks?
Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, see, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Because Lower Decks doesn't know who the hell their audience is.
Right.
And yet here I go. I'm watching the show, but in between the commercials, there's like, what do you call those big water pistols? I'm like, this is aimed for children, yet it's got more an adult.
Well, if you watch it on Paramount, they only give you different commercials. You won't get the kiddie commercials.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Watch it on Paramount.
And also, like, I always knock Lower Decks for their obvious dialogue of friendship is magic BS. Of, well, we're all friends.
Yeah.
Prodigy just does it. They don't tell you. They just do it. These kids like each other and are excited to be tangentially involved in the Federation and Starfleet. They want to be in Starfleet, and they're all working together because they have to.
And the first half was
their love for each other.
The first half was a lot of setup for stuff, but man, the setup is so good. Now it's starting to you're starting to see some of the stuff from what they set up. And the story's so good, bitch. You got to watch it.
All right. I'll watch it.
No, I'm very. I mean, honestly, I am literally intrigued of where's this going. This is very interesting, and the Chakotay mystery continues to expand.
Not just the Chakotay, the Protostar mystery. What's up with the ship?
Well, it ties.
Well,
Yeah.
everything all together. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that whole idea. Absolutely.
Yep. So yeah, Mitch, that's your
All
assignment.
right, all right.
Catch up.
If I endure Andor, I could watch this because Andor goes on for like 50 minutes, and I'm just like, there's only 5 minutes of story here. But
I got to watch the last 2 episodes. I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, I have
gotta
to
catch up
confess,
this
I have to
weekend.
watch this week's. I haven't watched this week's yet. But I don't know, man. I'm liking it more than you are, Mitch. I really
No,
am.
I like. There's parts of it I like because there's a thing going on with the work camp and all that, and that's interesting. And the characterizations are good, and the acting's good. But I'm just like, they're just slapping the word Star Wars on it, but it could be any war
Well,
story or
I think
anything.
that's the idea, though. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
and
idea.
You know
also,
what it
I
is?
mean,
Because there's no aliens in it. There's none of that Star Wars universe going
it's a
on.
rebel story. It's a rebel story.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, this is like a prison
but-
camp.
But you are
Beyond-
getting the Star Wars part with the
Empire ISB.
with the Empire and the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
the bureaucracy of the Empire.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah, I noticed that.
And I like that. I mean, again,
I feel like I'm sitting at a faculty meeting every time.
Oh
Well,
yeah, that's what it feels like when I used to work at a corporation, and it used to be like no one did anything; they just talked about
You're
doing
talking
stuff,
about
Oh,
it.
and then they
yeah.
would have another committee, and then we'd meet again next month, and nothing. I used to sit there and go, nothing's getting done, but we're like,
It's
yeah.
like the Simpsons parody of the Phantom Menace when they've
Yeah.
got the Senate scene.
yeah,
And they're just going by the bylaws of the Senate and everything. And I forget who says it, like boring. But
No.
yeah, it's I'm fascinated by it.
I'll give you this. It gives Lucas's story such a broader appeal or more significance because at the end of the show it says, story by Tony Gilroy based on Star Wars by George Lucas. And remember when Marvel did the original Star Wars sequels when the comics came out? They had no roadmap. They didn't know where anything was going.
Right.
And a lot of it was, I think Roy Archie Goodwin wrote it, a lot of it was boring talk and intrigue and family squabbles between these two ruling houses. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking boring. I want to see something blow up. And then it took like The Empire Strikes Back to start like, oh no, we could have like an adventure or so. But they, it's a bigger universe.
Dowd had a final lowered or Prodigy point for a show of a cast of kids running a ship. Prodigy feels like a much better story than Discovery, Lower Decks, and 2 seasons of Picard combined. Yeah.
Picard's got to be the biggest letdown of Star Trek in the last 10 years, I think.
We'll see. Yeah, and we'll see. It's funny. I was watching yet another. My buddies who do serious Star Trek, and they said the same thing. It's like, man, what I've been saying, and what we've all been thinking. What a waste of 2 seasons.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And Patrick Stewart, you're like never going to get. I would have rather him just sit there on that damn farm or the vineyard and just talk about
the old days.
Yeah, the old days, and that would have been like more entertaining. Like
or
when they had Riker and him. Yeah, remember when they just got together?
Or if Picard took the same senility turn that Professor X does in Logan.
Yeah.
And maybe have him do like that. Chris Topher, before we get to the next show, asks, do we keep up with Doctor Who?
I do.
I watched the last Jodie episode. I know Wayne did. I don't know if you guys did.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Cool.
If they were all like that for the last couple of years, it would have been a good show. But unfortunately, it had to be one of the worst written Doctor Who seasons since she took over. The first season had 1 or 2 good episodes, but the rest were unwatchable. I literally had them on my DVR. I couldn't sit through them for 5 minutes. It's a shame because she's such a good actress that they did her a disservice with the poor writing and shitty quality productions. I mean, it's like, do you got any money or something? What the hell's going on?
Well,
they did
as far as
Dalek
budget,
episode, it was so cheap. It looked like they filmed in my basement. I'm like,
as far as budgets go, you're watching, as Wayne well knows, you are watching government-sponsored television. And so it won't have, or at least the previous iterations, including the good years of classic Doctor Who, never had good budgets. But that said,
why you gotta call Wayne out like that?
I'm sorry?
Why you gotta call Wayne out like that?
Yeah.
Canadian.
But the good news is they apparently are in a joint production deal with Disney. And so starting next year, as far as American Doctor Who, we're not going to get it on BBC America anymore. We're going to get it on Disney Plus. And it sounds like it is truly a joint production so maybe they'll get some more
Are all
money.
the old Doctor Who's going to be
I
on
was gonna
Disney as
say,
well?
That's the big question.
Okay, here's the
Yeah.
problem with the joint production. They tried to do that with Torchwood and it didn't work.
Oh, and that Torchwood Showtime movie, that sucked. Torchwood was so good, and then when they had that more
They combined
money-
it when they combined with the US.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was out of
Just went
control.
right down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again,
Why you got to call
I
us
have
out like
more-
that, Wayne?
I have more faith in Russell Davies coming back than that.
He was on that Torchwood show. He produced and wrote that too.
You're right about that.
He
But
did.
again, I'm with. I mean, Children of Earth, the miniseries. I think was it
Oh.
Stars? Was it
Yeah,
Stars?
it was-
That was
the-
fantastic. Yeah, that was Peter Capaldi was on that one. That was a good one. And then they did another one where they came to America and they tried to like reboot it and stuff. And it was shit.
Well,
got my Venom.
again, we'll see. I mean, do you, Franco? Are you okay? Like, do you know the big twist at the end of the new Doctor Who, the final episode of Jodie's?
No, I'm still on the David Tennant Doctor Who.
Can we spoil?
Oh
it for
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Well, instead of becoming the brand new Doctor that the actor they've already telegraphed and shown pictures of, and we all know he's going to be the next Doctor. Instead, Jodie, the Doctor character, is going to go from Jodie to this person of color that's taking over. But in the meantime, and apparently for at least a few episodes next year, Jodie turned into David Tennant.
What? Why would you spoil that for me?
What? And I think it's smart, given the bad feelings that a big majority of Doctor Who fans had about the Chris Chibnall era, and I think it spoon feeds them into the idea of a new Doctor coming. It'll be interesting to see how they play it out. But it's intriguing, and certainly to go back to who likely was the most favored Doctor of the Russell Davies and Stephen Moffat eras of Doctor Who and everything. It's a good idea to bring David Tennant back for a few episodes. It's and we don't know why, and that's great. That's a mystery. And unfortunately, it's okay. See you in 13 months.
Yeah. Next November. I was like, what? I know.
But again, it was a good finale. I like the idea, without spoiling in detail, that so many of the former companions came back for full participation in the episode, but also nice cameos in the episode as well, kind of in the way that the 50th anniversary had Tom Baker for a second and everything. You know, so I agree with everything Mitch said. It was a great finale. But what a waste of 4 years of lousy episodes.
Was it really 4 years?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Geez, now I'm even more pissed about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Wasted opportunity.
You know what? Honestly, I was talking to somebody at the store today. They were like, I can't believe I got to wait a whole year. Don't they realize people lose interest? I go, yeah. I mean, 13 months next November, it'll be here soon, but it's a year away. When you're trying to build a new audience, it's
agree.
hard to do that. When like, oh yeah, it's good, but you got to come back next year. It's like,
but you could, but much like Star Trek prior to New Trek getting started, you've got 10, 11 seasons of from Christopher Eccleston all the way to
since 2005.
Scottish guy.
Peter Capaldi.
Yeah. So you've got all those reruns to kind of churn through for the next year. My question is, BBC America is losing Doctor Who when the new shit starts. Do they run the stuff that they have for the next year, or do they abandon it and are like, well, it's, the hell with you? I would imagine the regular BBC and internationally that stuff will still be running. I honestly don't know, though.
I don't know. Somebody asked me, because I have BritBox on my Samsung network, and I have all the William Hartnell ones, all the way up. Right, all the way up to Sylvester McCoy, and then it ends.
Right.
And no one has that Fox TV movie thing. I don't know where the hell that is anymore.
Okay. You're not
and then, like you said, and HBO has all the Eccleston till up to Jodie Whittaker on HBO Max.
Now.
So it's weird. You can't put them all together on one network like they did with Star Trek on Paramount.
Different production deals. And speaking of which, and it answered our question, because a month ago, we're all like, what the fuck happened to the 10
they're on
Star
HBO.
Trek movies? Why are they gone? and now we know that they're running on HBO Max,
Yeah.
and they licensed them to HBO Max. So, and that happens to a lot of, this network or this movie studio owns a property, but they are licensing it out to other streamers and stuff. Technically, the Rocky movies belong to MGM, which is now um, Amazon property, and that's running at various, AMC and HBO Max had them for a while and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, they're making money off of licensing rather than their regular viewers, which is kind of lousy.
Yeah, no, but all the James Bond movies were on HBO, but now they're all back on Amazon Prime because Amazon bought MGM. So I'm like, okay, but here's the weird thing. I went to watch Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein the other day, thinking it would be on for free on Peacock because that's a Universal NBC thing. It was not. And I'm like, well,
who had it?
Nobody had it. I had to go rent it for $3 off it. But I'm just saying, who owns what nowadays? I'm like, I thought Universal is Universal, but you're telling me it's like, well,
they do own it. It's just a question of, are they licensing it somewhere, or that month where nobody had it, maybe they're forcing you that month to, if you really want to see it, to rent it or buy it.
I don't know how Netflix is making money because they used to have a whole series on like everything, like Twilight Zone and all that. I don't know.
But the only things Netflix owned were the things they produced. They didn't own the Twilight Zone. They didn't own The Office. They didn't own West Wing. All those shows that we got, all the Star Trek that we watched on Netflix, they didn't own them. They licensed them. So that's why Netflix started, especially after the success of House of Cards and Orange is the New Black and a lot of other shows that they make. It's like, we got to make more of our own stuff because everyone saw the writing on the wall with streaming. And when these other studios have jumped in with their other streaming networks, that a day will come where they will control what networks show them or what streamers show them. And you better have your own content. And that's why Amazon bought the MGM library and the United Artists library.
So Disney owns Fox now. So shouldn't all the Fox TV series be on either Hulu or Disney at this point? Like X-Files?
You would think, but it's funny. Doubt says, for example, Disney should already have that Doctor Who Fox TV movie with Paul McGann in that Fox buyout. Disney should have that from the Fox archives. Yeah, not everything from Fox is running on either Disney Plus or Hulu.
It could be you have to look at the contracts that were in play at the point of purchase.
Yes.
They have to wait till those contracts play out.
That's right.
And then everything can revert back. So there could be some, think of it, it's like Michael Ulslan, who has the Batman rights.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's on everything because of what he's paid for.
But that's as a producer. But I don't know if he necessarily controls.
No, but still, it's called like it's a rights thing with the contracts, depending on when do they finally revert back to the original owner.
Yes.
Yeah, because
that's a different.
It's a mess out there, like
as opposed to network and studio ownership.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because Planet of the Apes, I just saw because Bortus just posted he's now part of the cast of the new Planet of the Apes movies that they're making. So I doubt that they're coming back for seasons 4. But with that said, I'm like, okay, where are all the Planet of the Apes movies? That's a Fox property. Is that on Hulu or HBO? I don't even know where
I don't think they have
Disney. Aren't
Disney? They're on Disney. Well, yeah, technically it's Disney, but I don't
Disney,
know where they
Disney
are.
owns the assets, but I don't know.
Well, a lot of Fox stuff they seem to be putting out on Hulu and stuff like that.
Oh,
well, and also trying to make Disney Plus a more family friendly channel. If there's something that's questionable, they might throw it on Hulu rather than Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But is there any rumor? Because I thought I kind of tangent. Is there any rumor to Netflix going to dropping episode by episode instead of dropping whole seasons?
Yeah,
I heard something like that.
But not, I think they'll rather the first move they're going to make is tighten the people who share a Netflix account. They're going to, I think, crack down more on that first before they release things episodically. I hope they do go to episodic. I think it builds momentum. We've talked about it before.
Yep.
When you drop a whole season, after a week or two, it's yesterday's news.
Mm-hmm.
When it's released episodically, you got a few months. God, you know what's crazy? And this is a good transition to talk about it. I was texting Chuggy today, and he was telling me that he had to rush and see Black Adam this week because it was already being pulled from the theater
What?
that lives near him. And I'm like, wow. And he goes,
2
well, maybe.
weeks?
Well, it's been a little more than 2 weeks, but you're right.
No, 2 weeks. This is the
Okay.
this would
It
be
was the
the
number
third
one
weekend.
movie for the second week in a row.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Hey, Langley's back.
Oh,
Langley,
you know what?
Finally.
They're probably clearing the decks because next week's Black Panther, and that's going to be in like 4,000 theaters. So it's like,
That's
So
my
that's
suspicion.
probably why they're pulling the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my suspicion. Good,
Wow.
Langley. Good to see you. Langley sent me an email. If I didn't share with you guys, that he's been under the weather and with something that's manageable, but not just a cold. And I hope you're feeling better, Langley.
Yeah,
Truly.
man. I hope you're
too.
feeling better.
You know, we all really like you, Langley, and we're glad that you're back.
Ow.
So,
And you liked Black Adam, didn't you? I don't know
did
why.
very much. Yeah, let's go around the horn. I did. And actually Chuck saw it today, and he liked it too. I'd give it 3 stars out of 4.
Oh, I agree with John.
I'd agree.
It's an
I'd
average
agree
film.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that as well.
Go for it, Mitch.
I thought it was a 90s movie, like a superhero movie back then. All explosions, very little story. And then when I started really analyzing, like, what's going on here? There was more plot holes in that thing than a Swiss cheese factory. I was like, what's going on here? He wakes up 5,000 years. He's immediately a fish out of water. He's like, oh, okay.
You can speak English perfectly.
He can speak English perfectly.
That's a little quibble.
And the funny thing is, I had this fight with Ordway because I said, who the hell was that military group that was running the country? Were they working for Amanda Waller, or she suddenly woke up?
No, it's
it was Intergang, right? So Jerry goes, oh, it's like when Iraq fell and they sent in Blackwater, and it was like a group. I go, okay, you're getting too complicated here. What's going on? She's sitting back and not worried about it, Amanda Waller, and then suddenly she's like, oh, I better send in Hawkman and Dr. Fate and all. Why didn't she help them out before Black Adam woke up? What is this?
Because it wasn't a problem. There was no superhero problem there. She can handle a military problem anytime she needs to.
Yeah, and Langley wants to know, and we can all go around the horn on this. And before we do, I'll make a comment about what you said, Mitch, and I agree with you. He wants to know how the JSA was handled. They were the only thing he was interested in. Before we get into that, I agree with you, Mitch, that he's been Black Adam has been incapacitated for 5,000 years, and he got very comfortable with slang, modern slang, and that's my small quibble. But I moving on to what Langley asked, it's interesting.
They should have done a montage scene where he learns English. That's what I thought was
kid or something. Yeah. But I kind of liked at the same time that it was a story taking place in the Middle East, but it wasn't a Death to America country. I really appreciated that, and that the kid still loved DC Universe heroes, and had all the comics and all the stuff on his walls. But as far as the JSA, I liked it. A lot of people didn't.
I loved the JSA in this.
I thought they handled it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I really
What
did.
did you think, Mitch?
It's okay, Mitch. Yeah, no.
I was like, the fact that here's what I was thinking. They wanted to probably do the Justice League, but because of all the nonsense with the Zack Snyder, they couldn't do that. So they said, okay, we can't use Batman. We're going to make Hawkman the new Batman with this massive mansion and all these. Why does Hawkman need a jet if he can fly?
Here's my thoughts on this. Here's my thoughts on this. So Black Adam is very much associated with the Justice Society, which is why they did the Justice Society, not the Justice League.
Because of the
and
Jeff
also,
Johnson.
And also which Hawkman is it? Because he's got all that tech. He's got all that tech and everything. So which Hawkman is it?
And if you look at the emblem, all the emblems that's on the ship, that's the Silver Age Hawkman. That's the Thanagarian.
Mm-hmm. But was it because we started saying he had the nth metal? His name is he the archaeologist one?
Yeah, he's Carter Hall.
Is he the alien one?
Well, but the comics have combined it all.
Yeah,
it is all the same person, and he's been reincarnated, not just on Earth, but interplanetary. And I love that about the Robert Venditti, Brian Hitch series, to the point where there was a Qatar Hall on Krypton as well. And so I think it can still all work. We don't know enough about Hawkman.
Yeah.
And so no, in fact, I really thought, as much as everyone loved Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, and he was amazing.
I
He was
loved
good.
him as Dr. Fate. Yeah.
He was good. Yeah.
But I really liked Hawkman. I liked Atom Smasher and Cyclone as well. But I thought it was good. It introduced 4 characters. It introduced the idea of the JSA, and in subsequent movies, we'll get more.
I was watching it, and I'm thinking, this is how they should have introduced the Justice League. They did these minor characters of Atom Smasher and Cyclone, and they integrated them into the DC universe like so well with this team. Yeah, with this team. They didn't have to give you a lot of information on them. They gave you some backstory. That's all you really need.
Just like Hawkeye in the Marvel movies, just like Black Widow.
Yeah, they just show up. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was really, really well done.
And the movie is called Black Adam because some people not enough Justice Society. It's like, it's not a Justice Society movie.
Yeah.
It's a Black Adam movie. That's
but
okay.
I could tell you this: there was a lot of rewrites and a lot of editing going on there, because I'm sitting there going, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" The one big problem I had, spoiler alert, is that village, that town, that country doesn't write. Bloodshot. That's a whole other. Ugh. But anyway, they don't rise up to fight the human inner gang people, but when the fucking hordes of hell show up, demons, zombies, they say, "Hey, let's get a baseball bat and just knock them out," and they all rally together.
You got to fight sometime.
Yeah, we're gonna fight sometime on a skateboard, no less. And I'm like, why the hell?
Yeah, that was a little much.
Yeah, that was a little much. And the kid was sitting right next to me, the actor.
Really?
We were at the premiere in New York with Ordway, and we had The Rock, we had Pierce Brosnan, everybody was there. So I'm like, "Hey, look, he's right next to me." And Ordway's hitting me, clap at the end of the movie. I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't like it." He goes, "But it's an industry show. You have to clap. You can't sit there and go, 'I don't like it.' Of course you say you like it." But and the Rock gets up there and goes, "I've been working on this for 16 years." And I'm thinking maybe 17 would have been better. But
wow.
But the thing of it that kills me is Pierce Brosnan was standing right next to me in the lobby, and I didn't recognize him for 5 minutes. And I'm like,
that's how good of an actor he is.
He doesn't look anything like I remember James Bond. Of course, why? It's been 20 years. His hair was all gray, and I'm like, that's James Bond. But what did The Rock do? Oh, he said this, and this was bothering me. "Oh, I grew up reading about Black Adam. I liked him because his skin color looked like mine, and this and that." I go, "Look, The Rock's 50 years old. I'm 56. Black Adam was in like 3 or 4 stories, maybe, until like the Crisis. He showed up in there. There's no way that Black Adam was The Rock's favorite character growing up. He wasn't in any comics in the 70s. He was in like two issues.
Maybe he read my issues.
They did reprint the couple Fawcett appearances of
He was in one Fawcett appearance, and then he showed up in 1970s, the Shazam comic that DC did. He showed up in there, and then he showed up in the Rich Buckler Superman versus Shazam. Adam was in that, and then he showed up in the Crisis. He had, because trust me, I
wouldn't have that many appearances.
He showed up in mine.
Well, all I know is
in your book. The Rock's reading your book.
I love the way.
That's a good endorsement.
Perhaps Rock not growing up, but maybe in the early aughts when they were using Black Adam in the JSA book and in stories like Black Rain and things like that, or Dark Rain. I forget what the arc was called, but he might have read those. And I love how Johns and James Robinson shifted Black Adam from being a full villain to an anti-hero, much like Namor, that depending on the cause, he's on the right side. And by the way, tomorrow night, I'll be talking to Don Kramer, who drew that amazing JSA arc. And
he was at the premiere as well.
I knew that. Yeah, he's Don
must have got lost in the mail.
And he's coming to Terrificon because we were at the party with Jim Lee and everybody before, the one that Franco wasn't at.
Yeah, that's a grave injustice, Francis. That because as I've said before on Word Balloon, you and Artie and Mike Norton did an incredible Black Adam story in The Powers of Shazam. And I'm sorry that the current regime doesn't seem to remember that.
That's okay. It happens.
Okay, so what
did Ordway, by the way, did Ordway use Black Adam and Powers of Shazam?
He did. He did. And he was He
That
was
was
on the
80s,
credits.
90s. That was 80s,
That
90s.
was 94.
Okay. All right. Well, that was still
maybe The Rock read it then.
Again, I mean, I honestly don't know how deep The Rock's comic book history goes. But here we go. More comments about it. First of all, Doubt says, I wonder if the JSA characters that are being used on Stargirl were not allowed to be used in Black Adam.
Oh,
I'm guessing that to be true. Langley says, I like how the villain is Sabak, which is same as the card game from
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Sabak.
Star Wars. Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that was a little too much at the end with the CGI villain.
Did it feel? Yes, it did. It felt like they wrote that story 16 years ago, before all the new Marvel superhero movies and all the rest of them. I'm like, this is like an old. I don't know what to compare.
Well,
it to.
Act 3 of Black Adam reminded me in the negative ways that I didn't like Act 3 of the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yes.
I appreciate that they use Sabak or however you say his name, but it just felt like, all right, here's another big CGI bad guy that I've seen already a million times, and I'm getting tired. By the way, Doubt says, when the John CSA book came out, Dwayne was in his 30s wrestling. When did he read Black?
That's what I said. Anyway, the other thing is, what do you think?
Maybe he was still a kid at heart.
We all are. What do you think about the whole I'm bringing DC? Because he kept saying this at the premiere, looking into the camera. Hey, fans, welcome home. What I did at the end of this movie, this is for you. Because he's restarting the entire DC cinematic universe with, everybody knows by now, Henry Cavill and Superman. And I'm like,
only The Rock and James Gunn could do it.
Only The Rock could have pulled that off. And today, James Gunn tweets a picture of Clark Kent at a typewriter saying, "Oh, I have to work fast on this." Do you think they're going to basically kind of
reboot everything?
Yeah, reboot. Forget about all that stuff that's happened for the last 10 years.
I think it's going to be a soft reboot. I think it's going to be a soft reboot. Yeah.
But a lighter Superman, a more happier Superman.
That's the thing. You can do a soft reboot without negating what came during the Snyder era. And I think that, and also, by the way, both The Rock and the director fought, apparently, because it was still the old regime for that.
Cavill.
Yeah. So I think it's okay for The Rock to claim credit for, hey, here's my gift to you. We know how great Henry Cavill is as Superman. We insisted on it. And listen, I love Dwayne Johnson. I really respect him. The people that I know that have worked with him have nothing but nice things and are like, the guy is incredibly kind. He's incredibly generous. He's a good team player. And again, I hear what you're saying, Mitch, and it could have been a little bit better. I think a little bit. You obviously think a lot more, and I totally respect that. But I think it was a good enough movie compared to a lot of the crap that DC has put out, and it's a good step in the right direction.
I agree. I totally agree.
Is there a Black Adam 2, and does he?
I think there's no doubt.
Does he meet Shazam?
If not, go ahead.
Does he meet Shazam, or do they just forget the whole Shazam?
Well, the
thing?
Shazam movie's coming out, and this was filmed previous to that or during that, so don't be surprised if something goes up in the Shazam movie.
I would certainly hope that might be a surprise in Shazam 2. But I mean, who the fuck knows? And again, I got to be honest, I don't like the extended Marvel family in modern day, all played by these foster kids.
Yeah, not a fan.
The Marvel. Yeah,
it's spread out too much. You could have done and I respect that, as opposed to being just 3 white kids the way the original Marvel family was. You could have had people of color be Mary Marvel and Freddie. Yeah. But I didn't like it in the first movie. I don't like what I've seen in the trailer.
Yeah, but they're just following the John storyline.
They are.
I'm aware.
But it weakens the character of Shazam himself, because there's the guy who's fast, there's the girl who's smart, and it's like they take his whole acronym and each one. I get it, they split him up, but it's like, well, that's why he's unique, because he's a combination of all these. You don't need 6 different people, but
Well, I think it's also to not be as strong as Superman, or because they have the Superman in the I don't know. That's just me thinking.
I hear you. Langley says, my hope is that it's a soft reboot, the way they're doing Daredevil and the Netflix shows. Agreed. Yeah. And Doubt says, James Gunn as co-president of DC Films gives me hope. I hope his sensibilities for Peacemaker and Suicide Squad get used more for the rest of the universe. I think that's a given.
What do you think about co-president, John? What do you think about that?
Okay with it.
Why not make him the whole thing? Why do they have him
Because-
being creative and they got a bean
Because
counter
I
with
think
them?
they have different skill sets.
But exactly, and you just said it for us, Mitch, because I said well before the James Gunn announcement, why not give the franchise to Guggenheim? Because Mark Guggenheim has done nothing but 10 years
CW,
of great CW shows. And I asked Mark directly, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school giving you Mark's answer, but he said they want a creative guy, but also someone that is a bean counter. And I think that's what we're seeing in the combination of these two guys. And that's great. That's fine. I'm okay with that. However you come up with the equation. And I mean, I really don't know the bean counting side of Kevin Feige.
Right.
And wasn't John Berg with Jeff Johns the bean counter to Jeff Johns, creative officer of DC Universe, when they were kind of running things in the DC film universe? I don't know. So, yeah, and then and Langley says exactly. Gunn and Safran work well with each other, and Stanley says Black Adam was good fun, but The Rock could add more charisma to make it great. Well, again, I think Black Adam is still acclimating himself to the modern world, and no, I liked what he did. I hear what you're saying, Mitch, and I see the ways it could have been more. I also think that they leaned on some special effects that felt like Marvel movies when somebody disintegrates out of existence to go to dust. It's I think a lot of average, non-DC Marvel haters or lovers are going to be like, yeah, didn't they do that in Endgame? Why are they copying Marvel?
No, I just said to Ordway, who wrote this stuff, I said, when did Shazam have the power to electrocute people and disintegrate people? He goes, they didn't ever did that. I was like, okay. Because he wiped out a whole army just by, lightning bolt, like the Emperor or something, So whatever.
Langley says, and I agree with him, although I think they've got that in Dave Filoni. He says, I actually think Star Wars needs a similar structure. Kennedy's not great on the creative end. Yeah, but I as Dave Filoni, I think, exerts his creative control, I think we're seeing Star Wars Kevin Feige. Although I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But of course, a year or two ago during the lockdown, there was where the Kevin Feige was going to dip his toe in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Hey, here's a question. Rob Liefeld today says, how come, speaking of Superman and speaking of creative helm, how come during the Jim Lee, Dan DiDio reign of the DC comic books, the paper,
right?
Why did the flagship titles that were the big sellers in the 80s that we grew up with, the Teen Titans, the Justice League, Superman, why did they all suffer in sales and go down? So where only Batman seems to be the only thing that's bringing in the money currently at DC.
I have an answer.
That there's 15, but I'm just saying, I know it's Rob Liefeld. He's trying to be a little.
No, I have an answer to Rob's question.
Why?
Because the editorial edict, and I completely disagree with it, as opposed to the decades-long idea of it's the legacy and family that makes DC's distinct from Marvel. All of a sudden, during when Bob Harris was editor-in-chief and Bobby Chase was his number 2, the word was to writers and artists, oh, no, we're not family. All these, they're all renegades. We're all badasses now. So that's why the Titans didn't remember being together. That's why everyone in the Superman family hated each other. Supergirl resented Superman. Con-El resented Superman and Supergirl. It was stupid. It was stupid.
And that started the decline of all the titles?
Yes. Because again,
there was a really speaking from inside, because I worked on the New 52 with the Green Team, which lasted a whole whopping 7 issues. There was a lot that we couldn't do. There was a lot that I wanted to do with that team. We knew that the title wasn't going to last long, but I wanted to do some specific things, and I wanted, this group of teen trillionaires to, much like Elon Musk in buying Twitter and stuff like that, was going to take over the tech that they didn't have. So they were going to I wanted them to dredge Gotham Bay for an old Batmobile to kind of reverse engineer the tech. And they were like, no, 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 no. Can't do that. I'm like, well, there goes a whole storyline that I was actually building towards. So there was a lot that we were told that we couldn't do.
Can't do that. Why? Because they wanted no jumping on point. They didn't want it. They wanted to get
They
new
wanted
readers.
They wanted every book to breathe on its own, and they wanted to not have the connectivity that the DC universe had for decades. That made it distinct, and that's why they're stupid and they fucking failed.
And that is why.
Saying that.
That is why we also talked about how Marvel is rebooting the Marvel Milestones or Masterworks, because they're still reprinting the 60s Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Captain America, Spider-Man, and all new reader, because it's part of history. It's like a history book. Right. You don't just pick it up when you go to school. Oh, here's what happened from 1990 on. No, they tell you all about the history because they still incorporate it. Where the DC, they wouldn't know where to reprint that stuff because there've been so many reboots in the last 20 years. What's your jumping on point now? You don't have any of that.
My suspicion is the New 52 era, which ended with Jeff Johns' rebirth, will not be looked back fondly and reprinted. Maybe some exceptions, but ultimately, no, they cut off the connection to their legacy period. Even they rebooted the Justice Society in that Earth 2 book, made them all young, made them all brand new heroes, supposedly, and it sucked. Or at least it was its own thing. Maybe some people did like it, and there were some interesting ideas. But the entire period, I'm like, I understand, but it was like, we're going to make everything fresh just to make it fresh without really thinking about how these stories are involved. Christ, in Superman, they had Lois expose his identity.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. Well, this is new. Yeah, and it sucks shit. And that's why ultimately
there was a lot wrong with the New 52. They had like a real oversight on everything. And then when the stuff after the New 52, what the hell was the name of that line? Rebirth. That's why Rebirth did well in so many aspects that New 52 didn't, because they're like, oh, hey, we should let the creators kind of like, spread their wings a little bit.
Well, that were also the best moment in that first Rebirth issue was Wally coming out of the Speed Zone and Barry remembering him, and that beautiful moment where he hugs him and he goes, how could I forget you? I have an answer to Doubt's question as well. He says, why was it that John's Green Lantern book still used the same continuity for the New 52? Why was the only one allowed to do that then? Because GL was selling one, and so was Batman. And that's why they had the least amount of impact from
the hands off. Yeah, I remember that. It's like all these books are not being affected by all the reboot and all that. But to go back to what Liefeld said, is it too late for them to try? They can't reboot another universe.
It's never too late.
Start all over again and say, "Hey,
no, you don't need to do that. No, you don't need to
start." Because I was talking to Kevin McGuire, and he said now that James Gunn is in the movies, now with his creativity and the way his mind works, he could see a Justice League International based on that 80s version that Matty is and Keith Giffen did. He said Gunn gets it. He probably could make that work into a real movie that you'd go and enjoy, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. He could make those characters. But would that mean they bring them back into the books with that jokey flavor again? Or bwahaha.
Yeah, there's room for both. I'm sorry. I literally today put out a reprint episode of Word Balloon from 2008, and it's when Fraction took over Iron Man right after the first movie came out. And that's really where in the comics, Tony Stark in the comics resembled Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
That's where it started.
That's a good run.
And it's a great run. It's a fantastic run. And I like going back and telling and representing those episodes because you get into the heads of the creators and what they were thinking at the moment. And also it reminds you of some great runs of books, both DC and Marvel. But you don't need to start from scratch again. No, that story. Everybody knows the Superman origin. Everybody knows the Batman origin. You don't have to show it again. Please.
Well, that's why we liked with the new Sony Spider-Man picture. We didn't have to see Peter get bitten by the spider again.
They just went into it.
They just went right into it.
Right. Agreed. And it's again, Yeah, you don't need it.
We don't need to see Bruce's parents get killed one more time.
No. I tell you,
think it's fun when that happens, though.
It is insane to go to a comic shop every Wednesday and look at the DC titles that come in that week. And I swear, out of 15 or 16 books, 9 of them are Batman or Batman related books. And I'm like, is that all they have nowadays? It's like,
well, they're relying on what sells.
Yeah, I know.
And thankfully, you got creators like Tom King that are doing, although I guess it's Batman adjacent, Gotham City Year One, but Batman will not be in that story. Or you've got Danger Street starting up that has no Batman connection, and you got Human Target. That's a fantastic book. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. You're right. There are mostly Batman and Superman adjacent books, but also my example of no, you don't need to go back to square one is when Kevin Smith came on Green Arrow, and suddenly Green Arrow became an amazing book.
With Phil Hester.
Or Tom King on Vision, or Tom King on Mr. Miracle. Scott Snyder when he did.
I spoke to Mitch Gerards this weekend.
What's that?
Spoke to Mitch Gerards this weekend. We saw him with.
Oh, that's great. I love Mitch. I love Mitch.
And Tom King said hello, by the way, John.
My guy. Mike.
Because I broke him off. He's like, why didn't I go back to Terrificon? Didn't John tell you I loved it? I go, whatever. Walk away.
That's another story. Dad says he really likes the Black Batman book that John Ridley's doing. I agree with you. I mean, that's the thing. There are interesting ideas in future, whatever it's called, future something. I don't remember now. I was told there'd be no
Future State.
Future State. Thank you. You see, I count on Wayne's.
Well, no. I was just trying to figure out which one you were talking about. That's the problem with all these reboots.
I'll tell you, Stargirl got canceled. Season 3 did. So the only show left is Superman and Lois.
Right.
And I'm assuming Peacemaker season 2 is coming eventually.
Right.
But so now that they don't have to worry so much about television at the moment, does this give them more of a creative pool to worry about movies?
Didn't I read about them just naming a new CW president, chief, and there's not a lot of DC involvement.
That's exactly, Franco. Yes, it sounds like the CW is pulling away. The CW is trying to be sold.
Yeah, you told me that. They sold it to some guy who owns TV stations or something.
Well,
like that.
I don't know if that's fully. I assumed. I know that yes, Nexstar that owns WGN these days. Both the national, like Turner has TBS, Nexstar has WGN national, and also the local Chicago affiliate. So yeah, I have a feeling that the CW is going to pull away from Warner Brothers, and that's fine. I do think as Warner Brothers figures itself out, there's a hot rumor that Universal is interested in buying Warner Brothers outright or all of the DC stuff.
Wow.
But and again, Warner Brothers, or rather Universal, like Disney, is a big giant conglomerate and might be able to afford taking it over. While everything is in flux, I don't know. Oh, and in fact, Dowd says not only those shows you mentioned, but Doom Patrol's next season is coming. We're about to start season 4 or 5 of Titans, and I hope that is going to be part of the mix of our conversations moving forward, guys. Because Lex Luthor is. Hold on, Mitch. Lex Luthor is the bad guy in the new season of Titans, and I am intrigued.
I got to watch the old season of Titans first.
No,
I've been falling behind.
I was going to say, where's that Green Lantern series? Wasn't there supposed to be a Green Lantern?
Still coming.
Still coming
on HBO though.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean it sounds like HBO Max is, again, because of its financial position, picking and choosing what they'll put money behind. Yeah. But it also sounds like they're moving away from the kid programming and moving more into the adult programming. And the fact that they are moving forward with the next season of Doom Patrol. And I'm very bummed about Stargirl because I really think Stargirl has only gotten better. But at least they got 3 seasons, so that's all right.
Uh-huh.
It's not bad. By the way, that's another thing, because I don't want us to wrap up without talking about it, and that's the new Quantum Leap. Because as I was telling Mitch, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be talking to Ben Rabb, great comic book writer and one of the writers on Quantum Leap. He also had his time in the Arrowverse. I'm looking forward to talking to him. And Mitch is like, wait a minute, I hear it's going to be canceled.
Yeah.
Now, again, and Mitch, forgive me, but what was your source on hearing that?
No, it was multiple articles that I started seeing popping up, and I don't know if it's one of those hearsays and they all started going through, but it's an expensive show. It's, the ratings.
Is it?
I think it is. It's one. How many special
More
effects
than I
does
can afford.
NBC? They have NBC has the only sci-fi shows on network right now. The ABC
Right,
has nothing. CBS
right.
has nothing.
You're right.
You just wonder how much more they're gonna. They have that La Brea. They have Quantum Leap, and I think there's something else I can't remember.
But because I kind of did some hunting.
Yeah.
All the sites that I saw that were saying, "Oh, it's going to get canceled," were speculative. They did not have any information. And on the side of what's going to happen with Quantum Leap, prior to those articles appearing, NBC announced that they added 6 episodes to the original 12 that they commissioned.
Oh,
so
that's
they were
it.
going to do
It's done
close to a
for
full
that.
season. And the other thing, and we were talking about it earlier, that I noticed I'm ignoring you, Francis.
I did notice that.
Despite it how it's doing on the over-the-air NBC network, it's Peacock's #1 show. And I do think that most of the networks that have ties to a streamer understand, and also it's Monday Night Football season, even though it's on ESPN, TV shows, even network shows, always do badly during football season on Monday nights because a lot of people are watching the games. Go ahead, Franco.
Look at. I was going to say you mentioned football, and Amazon is now showing football. Everything is so fragmented across so many platforms. Like, how do you know when they're going to drop a show or not? Like, I wholeheartedly believe in what Johnny said, that Quantum Leap is probably, one of Peacock's better shows for streaming, and not everybody is on over the airwaves anymore.
Right. And further, the fact that they did extend the season to 18, they already made the announcement either earlier this week or last week, that not this week's episode, but next week's episode, the 7th, is going to be the last new episode, and then it's going to go on hiatus for the winter months, come back in January, as a lot of shows do. And it will be interesting if they move it to another night and run it, rerun the first 6 or 7 episodes. But yeah, I think a lot of the negative reaction and lack of viewership is because people believed that Scott Bakula was not going to be part of the show. And he himself said on Instagram, "I'm not part of the show." Then the show premiered, and all they do is talk about Sam Beckett. And you realize this is not a reboot. This is a continuation. And one of the major plot points is, what happened to Dr. Beckett? We've got to find Dr. Beckett. And I just believe that he was lying the way Andrew Garfield lied in Spider-Man No Way Home. "No, I'm not in it." Bullshit, you're in it. And
that was good acting.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, it's some of the best acting Andrew Garfield's ever done. But that said, I do think either at the end of episode 12 or maybe at the end of episode 18 or right near the end, Sam Beckett's going to pop up, and it's Scott Bakula.
I do think that's a real big problem about people not knowing when something's on, because Franco and I were talking to a friend of ours named Jason May, and we were talking about Quantum Leap over the at Baltimore Comic-Con, and the kid even said, "Oh, is that even on yet?" And we looked, and we're like, "It's been on already." He goes,
"My wife really wanted to watch that." I'm like, "Well," he goes, and then Mitch mentioned that he saw that article where it might be canceled, and he goes, "I was going to watch that." I'm like, "You still can. There's like 6 or 7 episodes out now." And he goes, "There are?"
Yeah. People don't know where anything is anymore. They really don't.
Right. And honestly, man, I won't deny that part of my belief is I love this show. This might be the best new show for me on TV this year.
It's very smart in its writing.
Calm down.
Go ahead, Wayne.
I wouldn't say it's the best, but I say it's very smart in the writing, and you're intrigued by the storyline, not just the A storyline of wherever Ben leaps into, but it's the B storyline with Al's daughter. What's happening with that?
Yeah.
And the other stuff, if you haven't watched any of it, like it seems like there's 2 different actually 3 different stories that are happening behind them. And it's just trying to figure out who's going to take over at a certain point.
Well, they'll eventually collide. All 3 stories will eventually collide. And all 3 stories are intriguing. And well, you could even say, I suppose, well, you got Ben's story.
Yeah.
You got Mission Control trying to find Ben, and also why Ben is out there. You've got Al's daughter's story.
And I think there's another story on top of that.
I agree.
Based on the previous,
Yeah.
the Western episode, the end of the Western episode.
The other Leaper. Yes,
Leaper
the
X.
other Leaper.
Yeah.
Leaper
Leaper
X. Like it's just going all over the place.
But I love it. I mean, it's not hard to follow.
No.
But all of a sudden, it's like, well, what about this? What about that? I've pointed it out before in terms of their speculation and reviews of Star Trek. The YouTube channel of the Popcast has a fantastic prediction of where Quantum Leap might be going. God, I hope they're right, because their theory is incredible, and it involves Scott Bakula, but even more so, it involves, and I love that, as opposed to calling him the evil Leaper, that it's now Leaper X. No, I honestly, man, I'm talking to Ben Rabb sometime after November 15th. So it'll be when the show is on hiatus. And Ben was like, I don't want it. He goes, I'm like, please do it live. And he goes, well, I don't want spoiler questions. I'm like, I control what people see on screen. I can't be, responsible for what people say in the chat. But don't worry, I don't want you to spoil. And even though there are, of course, millions of people, what's going to happen next? It's like, watch the goddamn show, and then you'll find out what's going to happen next. Idiots. I'm sorry. It drives me insane. Tell us what's going to happen next. Well, we'd rather you watch it, because then we can make more, because people are actually watching, as opposed to me telling you right now how it all ends.
I think the show is kind of genius because, like Wayne was saying, you have all these different storylines, but if you don't follow those other storylines and you just follow the leap, those are interesting stories as well. Like the Halloween one was a lot of fun.
It's a great episode.
Yeah.
I agree. And Doubt, and I agree with Doubt. Doubt says the difference that he sees to the new stuff in Sam and Al is the new show feels like a team show, as opposed to how Sam and Al just felt like a buddy story. Agreed. I loved when Gushy would show up, and Tina and everybody else at Quantum Leap Mission Control in the old show. They didn't do it enough.
Yeah.
This show does. And it gives agency to all those characters. I love the fact that Ernie Hudson is Magic from the original show, much older, and he knows what's going on. Even the interaction they had with the Congresswoman, who's helping funding and stuff. Like Wayne said, no, there are very interesting storylines that are out there that if they're smart, and I hope they don't, wait too long. But it seems like they're giving us enough. They're giving me enough breadcrumbs every week to keep me intrigued.
It's like having an old X-Men by Chris Claremont on TV with all the little subplots going forward, and that you'll get some resolution, maybe 10 issues down the line.
I don't know. I'm looking at the chat, and Dad says, I'm curious why the team on the show bugged out over another Leaper when there was a female Leaper Sam had years ago. Yeah, but I don't know beyond Al
that they know any of that stuff.
Yeah, because they were shown infrequently on the new show. So like you said, Doubt, I kind of think it really was more Al and Sam's story than it was Gushy and Tina and them knowing what was going on. I also don't understand why, and they seem to have abandoned it, that when Ben leaps into somebody, that person isn't in the waiting room chamber to get information from, the way it was in the original series. And that is a question I'm going to ask Ben, and maybe I'll ask him off the air. And if it involves, well, we're going to explain that, okay, fine. But yeah, again, as an old viewer, that's
my theory is maybe technology has gotten better, so that doesn't happen. But yeah, I'd be interested to know that as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
That he just leaps in. It's the consciousness that leaps into the body, as opposed to switching the bodies.
Right. Doubt says about this week's episode, that exorcism episode, maybe we wish Dean Stockwell was still alive. He used to be hilarious on those old horror episodes. Absolutely. I mean, but that's the great thing. And shame on me, I'm not remembering what Ben's girlfriend's name is, his observer. But I like their dynamic. It's not the same as goofy Dean Stockwell in the best way, and the comic relief that Dean Stockwell used to provide. But I do like their Addison. Thank you, Doubt. That's right. That's her name. Yeah, I like it. God, I hope this is going to be good. And from the pilot on, I'm like, this show is exceptional. And I really love it. I really, really love it. That's why I talk about it every week. So,
yes.
So look forward to Ben Rabb coming on and giving us some Quantum Leap tidbits sometime this month, later on this month. There you go. What else? I told you the IDW comic is great.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to Chris Cantwell on Friday about Star Trek Defiant. And again, we mentioned that the classic original series and next gen movies are now on HBO Max, at least for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
See how many months that lasts.
Interview with the Vampire is not bad. I started watching that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna watch that.
And,
Did we ever talk about the She-Hulk season finale? It's been how many weeks has it been?
I thought we did. I thought we did on our last episode.
Oh, I can't remember. What was the last time?
But yeah, no. Again, I thought it was great. I'm looking forward to the Guardians Christmas special.
That was hysterical.
That's gonna be fun.
I love that Kevin Bacon shows up.
I finally saw Werewolf by Night. I thought it was terrific.
That was
finally
cool.
Yeah.
Finally watched that one. That was good.
So
I really like that Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched Tales of the Jedi. That was good.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Don't spoil. Don't spoil
Yeah,
yet.
we're not spoiling. How is it?
I watched them all 6 in one sitting because they're only about 20 minutes each, and it's not bad when you watch them all together. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is. But yeah, again, a cartoon, but adult themes, because you're like, a little kid is not going to want to watch this, but it fills in a lot of the history,
the backstory of the characters.
That's great. Bless you.
Yeah.
So compared to like Bad Batch or some of the other animated shows that we've gotten, Rebels,
it's just like, it's more like Bad Batch and Clone Wars and stuff with the animation style.
Good. Well, I don't care about the style. I mean story.
Yeah, and the stories are all directly tied into the prequels and all that. So
Dal wants to know, are they similar to the I Am Groot cartoon?
No, not at all. No, these are not goofy, wacky stories like Jar Jar or anything. In fact, Jar Jar's not in them. But no, they're good adult stories.
We said no spoilers, Mitch.
Oh, stop it.
Langley says, I've been impressed by all the genre content out right now. She-Hulk, Andor, House of the Dragon, Power Tales of the Jedi.
I don't watch the House of the Dragon and the
I haven't done the elves or the dragons yet.
Yeah.
Neither have I. Yeah, honestly, guys, I don't know. As I get older, I care less about fantasy and more about science fiction.
I love fantasy.
I just was never a big Lord of the Rings. I watched them once, and that was it. I never went back and watched
House of the Dragons took a while to sort of find its feet, and then it got good with the political maneuverings between the houses.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I'm considering changing a couple of my streamers to get AMC Plus because it feels like AMC Plus is doing more genre dramas than some of the stuff I already have. But I don't know.
Okay. No, I was gonna drop Apple TV because I'm like, what's on it? Because
Ted Lasso's coming back.
Yeah, but when next year though?
Yeah, but Mitch, have you watched For All Mankind?
I did. Yeah, about the Mars mission. Yeah, I've been watching that. Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought that was amazing. I think the drama was great. That is what I love about it is it's a great science fiction show, but like The Martian, it's believable science.
Yeah, it's got that technical like science fact
real
stuff.
Hard astronaut, real tech that you can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that it's the 90s and some of the technological advances that we enjoy now in the 2000s because of the way things move differently were available in the 90s. And I think that's fascinating to watch as much as the actual story and characters. And
no, that's a good show. I'll give you that. But
I agree with Doubt and Langley. Avenue 5 is really funny.
Okay.
What is that on?
Oh, is that on HBO?
HBO Max.
Yeah.
HBO? Okay.
I'm hearing good things. I should watch it.
Oh, what's Barbarian? Because Mitch Gerard said that was
nothing but great things about.
He said that's a good show. He goes, I love it, but I should hate it. And I'm like, what does that mean? So.
It's on. Well, I know it premiered on HBO this past Sunday.
Yeah,
so I would imagine it's on HBO Max.
What is it about?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
I haven't seen that one yet.
All right, but I'm hearing good things.
I watched The Watcher about this people that moved into a house and gave up after like 5 episodes. I'm like, we're good.
Oh yeah,
Bobby Carnivale, is that the guy?
Oh, my wife watched it. That's based on a true story.
Yeah. Out in Jersey, these people moved in and started getting letters. Get out of the house, and I'm watching you.
I'm not a horror fan. I mean, a horror fan.
No,
Horror.
I like horrors, but I don't.
You're
like
a horse.
There's like I said, there's just so much stuff. Whenever I click on Netflix, it's like suggested for you, and I go to click on it, it's like one of 12 episodes. I go, I can't watch another 12 episodes of something that I don't know anything about.
I don't know. Oh, I was teasing Artie. I haven't watched them, but they sound intriguing from being kind of Tales of the Crypt like, but on HBO, Los Spookies, and that's what it's called. And it's both English and Hispanic language. But yeah, I just love the title, Los Spookies.
I saw Jack Ryan's coming back, season 3. That starts up.
What a man! I love that show. I love everything about that show. Fantastic show.
That was well done. And Reacher's coming back next year.
Oh, that's good. And man,
I like Reacher. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, the Hawk from Titans.
Yeah.
Yes. Alan
God
Richardson.
damn, he's good. Yeah. Oh man, and he's unlike
going to be a Terrificon.
He is. He better show up this time. Yeah.
Oh, I hope he does.
No, he got stuck because that goddamn what is that called? Fast and Furious, with that Vin Diesel went over production by 2 months and
screwed him up. Okay.
What a nightmare that show is.
But I love that he is the way Jack Reacher is portrayed in the books.
Yeah.
I like Tom Cruise. I have no gripes as far as Tom Cruise, the actor, goes.
Yeah.
But he's just, it's Tom Cruise. It's a little short guy playing basketball tall Jack Reacher, whereas Hawk, is really, it's like, no, that's Jack Reacher. That's who should be Jack Reacher. So, I warmed up. I literally for years, I've been watching parts of the Spencer movie that Mark Wahlberg made.
Oh, Confidential? Spencer Confidential?
Because Walt Spencer really loved it. And Walter and I have always agreed about the Spencer books.
Yeah.
And he goes, because I'm like, yeah, but Walter, Mark Wahlberg's too cute to be Spencer and he's too young. Right. For me, obviously Robert Urich was perfect as Spencer, but also if I were to cast, even though he was Mike Hammer, Stacy Keach reminds me.
Keach would have been good.
Yeah, because he reminds me of Robert Parker, and I really feel like Robert Parker was channeling himself when he was writing Spencer.
Yeah,
and he's like, I hear what you're saying. Treat it as its own thing.
Yeah,
he's right, and I'm warming up to it as I watch it.
You know what I really love Stacy Keach in was that show Titus.
Sure,
I love that show.
Yes,
I love that show.
He was also really good in the boxing FX show that only lasted one season. It was called Lights Out. And just like Titus, he played the main character's father and also his trainer. The boxing, it was a heavyweight champion who retired after he had a really tight, close fight.
Yeah.
And suddenly discovers he's lost all his money and decides to go back in the ring and stuff. And no, Stacy Keach he's just amazing. He's an incredible actor. He's also a great Twilight Zone narrator on the radio adaptation of the original Twilight shows. So,
what's that on? Audible?
Radio syndication. You can even find, although I will say they take the half-hour scripts, they pad them out to be what would have been a commercial hour. So it's around 40 or 45 minutes. And the padding really hurts. And also, like, they really take advantage. They use the original music from the Twilight Zone. And like literally, it's like, all right, that was like a 15-second music transition. That's a really long time. Just get to the next scene already. Yeah. And it was because they really slowed the pace down to fit an hour with these half-hour shows. And it's like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
Stallone's got some new show coming on. It's supposed to.
I am excited for that show, Tulsa something.
Yeah, Tulsa
on
Heat
Paramount.
Or whatever. Yeah,
Paramount, right?
Yeah, where he's like a mobster that moves to Tulsa and tries to bring kind of New York mob sensibility to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm for it. Tulsa King.
Yeah, Tulsa King. That's it. Yep. And then Harrison Ford's prequel to Yellowstone comes out soon. I saw.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
I've never watched Yellowstone. So.
They announced Daniel Craig to be Balder.
And Dow, you beat me to it. Dow wanted to know if we saw Stallone's Superhuman film.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's on Amazon.
It's the Sentinel or something like that. Yeah, it was okay.
It was fun. It's low budget, but it was fun.
Definitely like a European movie. It looked like it was made like in Croatia or somewhere, Prague or something like that. It's like,
maybe.
Where was this? Yeah.
But I liked it.
Like I was saying, Daniel Craig was announced as Balder the Brave.
Where?
I think it was Screen Rant.
But they're making another Thor movie?
Well, no, he's going to be in the Marvel series. He's going to get a series.
Oh, cool.
Oh wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
God, I finally finished Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Samaritan. Thank you, Ed. That's the name of the Stallone
Samaritan. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Did you like that Greek? Did you like that Greek accent that Russell Crowe did? Hey, what's going on? I'm a Mario. Like
Greek or Italian? What was that?
It was bad. It was a bad Italian accent, is what it was. I'm a going to
I love Gilbert Gottfried used to do. What if Chico Marx was the hotel manager in Psycho, and it's like and he'd say like Janet Leigh, "Is there a room for rent?" And he'd go, "Yeah, we got a lot of rooms." And just that Chico Marx sort of went, "Yeah, sure, lady, we got a lot of rooms."
So what did you think of the movie? It was over the top.
Which
Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, it was over the top. It was.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because I like Taika Waititi as a filmmaker, and I've loved.
Yeah.
I like Dark World enough. I liked the first movie enough.
Ragnarok
was amazing. Everything that they've done with Thor and the Avengers movies are great. So I really was looking forward to Love and Thunder. It was all right.
Yeah. There was one clip of behind the scenes footage I watched, like the making of it, that's on Disney Plus, and you could see where it goes off the rails. Chris Helms is like working out, and he goes, "I got this great idea for a scene," and he runs over to Taika, who's like sitting there looking at his iPad, and he's got earphones. He's like, "What's up?" He's like, "I think we should have Thor do this or this or that," and Taika goes, "Yeah, whatever," and just goes back to work. I go, he's thinking, the check cleared, it's cash, it's in the bank. Whatever the hell you want, Chris, don't worry about it. We'll do whatever you want. And then you can see it's going off the rails right there. It's like, oh no, nobody's in charge right now. It's just a lot of money.
Doubt says Taiki said or miss for him. I tried Our Flag Means Death and just tagged out after the pilot.
I liked it a lot.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Doubt, if you give it a couple of episodes and then get to the end, you might change your mind. Because
pirate.
Because at the beginning, I was on the fence about it, but then as it went along, I'm like, this is actually really good.
Langley agrees with you, and I felt like I was going to say I've heard people who say, well, if you like Andor, you really got to watch The Expanse because of the sci-fi politics in The Expanse. And yeah, I keep meaning to make more time.
The Expanse moves faster.
Does it? Oh,
okay. God, yes.
Okay.
Good.
It moves faster than Andor. You'll be Mitch. You'll enjoy it.
Is that over, The Expanse, or is it still going? Is that
I believe it's over.
I think it's over.
It's The Expanse. It keeps going.
No, but it's like 3 seasons, I think.
Six.
Wow. Well, whatever. It's like The Walking Dead's coming to an end, but we've got 6 other shows coming on after, so it's not really coming to an end.
They gotta beat the dead horse because Robert has left AMC and is now working with Amazon, and they still have Walking Dead, so they can keep Tales of the Walking Dead and all the other shit they're doing.
Oh yeah.
So Doubt says The Expanse was great. I still wish they'd get to adapt those last books one day. Yeah, that's the other thing. Obviously, it's like, well, if you like the series, you'll love the books even more. So obviously, I don't know. Well, I'll get to it. I promise. So,
how was Fletch? By the way, I haven't seen it yet.
Still haven't watched it.
Still haven't seen it yet. Okay.
No, because
I figure it's going to be on Amazon Prime soon, so I'm not going to spend the $20 to watch it.
Guys, like I said, I went the Thursday that Black Adam dropped, and between the ticket and I went hungry and thirsty like a moron. And also, it's not warm. It's not cold enough yet to have a Harpo Marx coat where I could hide food and drinks in my coat. I spent $30 on one ticket, and I'm like, well, I may as well rent or buy Fletch on streaming for $20. And I haven't done it yet because it just got kind of depending on who you talk to, they either liked it or it was just okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, Mitch, I'm going to wait for it on streaming. Christ, a lot of the new movies. First of all, when I looked at the marquee at Black Adam. Of the other movies, don't want to see it, don't want to see it, don't want to see it, don't want to see it.
Yeah, they were all horror movies or something like that, weren't they?
Well, and not only horror movies, but horrible movies or movies that just weren't worth the spectacle.
Okay, Siskel or Ebert.
No, or
combined because of my weight. Let's be honest. I am
the George Clooney movie opened up with Julia Roberts.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
Yeah,
the only
and
other
that's
movie
something
out there.
you wait for that to come on streaming.
Right, you need to see that on a big screen.
Yeah.
There are even more trailers that I saw this week. I'm like, do we need to see that on a big screen? And my answer is no.
No.
So that's the problem. Ed says, I think Thor was missing Loki, Tom Hiddleston, or Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk to play off of and cut through the top melodrama and force comedy with a different tone. Yeah, I think there's part of that. I also think, I mean, yeah, even going back to Jane, I didn't mind it, but there just should have been other things that interested me,
Yeah.
and they just didn't. And I like Taika Waititi, as Dowd says. Jojo Rabbit was good, and Ragnarok was great.
Jojo
You know,
Rabbit's great.
yeah, I don't know. Oh, Franco, you wanted to mention that obviously you finally saw the Discovery trailer and the Picard trailer.
Yes, I did.
Thoughts?
Discovery looks like it's going to suck, and they didn't tell us anything. And Picard looks interesting just because Worf is a pacifist, which intrigues the hell out of me.
Sure.
And I like it. And that ending zinger with Lore was fun too. That's all I got to say.
I like the
thought
Moriarty's
the
back too.
ending.
Yes.
Yeah, with Moriarty.
Moriarty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, Terry Matalas has been saying all the right things in interviews. Gates McFadden made me feel better, but she would have made me feel better if she just asked me which way to the bathroom, because I was just happy to talk to Gates McFadden for a few minutes. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like I said, it sounds like there's a cool plan, and that they finally convinced Patrick Stewart. This is why it would be good to have the rest of the cast there. So we'll see. But yeah,
any word when Strange New Worlds comes back?
No.
No. It's the only one I want to see.
No, I hear you. Well, again, it was weird that we didn't get a start date for Discovery, because obviously we're in Prodigy now. That'll take us to the end of the year. And they announced Picard for February. So yeah, I maybe they're gonna take a break January and come back with Picard. I don't know, but I mean, prior to the cartoon starting up, Strange New Worlds just wrapped up, and I know they obviously are already filming the next season. But yeah, I wouldn't count on it before fall at the earliest, and maybe not even till next winter at the earliest. I don't know. That's the problem with the streamers, man. They come out, everybody has a good response. Are we going to get more? Yeah, but it's going to take us a year and a half to make it. Oh, all right. It's like, all right. And that's why sometimes I don't like to finish a show, because I want to have something to watch. Like, I was like that with Sherlock. A lot of the middle episodes of the seasons of Sherlock, which were standalones, I wouldn't watch them during the current season because I didn't want to wait a year and a half to watch more Sherlock.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes, what is that? The sister comes out next week, I think. The Netflix movie with Henry Cavill. Yeah. That was interesting.
I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, and he's off that Witcher show now. That he got replaced by Hemsworth's brother.
Thor's brother.
Yeah.
So is that because he's going to go film a Superman movie? That's why they're like clearing the decks.
Yes.
Dowd says that they released a teaser clip for season 2 on the last Ready Room for Strange New Worlds. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched that at Ready Room yet. You know what's great? No, we don't. Shut up. And Ed, I can tell you, Ed wants to know any news on For All Mankind season 4. All I know is it's definitely happening. And again, no, Apple very quietly has several, not just Ted Lasso and For All Mankind. The morning show is a very good show. There's a lot of strong shows on Apple, and not as much as everything else, but what they lack in quantity, they make up for in quality.
Severance got season 2 coming. If you're watching that,
Yep.
That's Apple.
So and Langley agrees with you. Severance is amazing, and that's hilarious. Langley says,
which one is Severance again?
Severance is Adam. What's his name?
Adam.
He was on The Office.
Adam Black or something.
Right. The Ben Stiller one, right?
Michael Black.
Yes. No, it's not Michael Ian Black. It's Adam something.
Yeah.
Not Driver. That's the singer. I can't remember his name.
Adam Silva.
Adam Scott. Thank you, Langley. Good job.
Close enough. Close enough.
And Langley says
What's this?
Cavill getting replaced for Hemsworth is like trading vanilla ice cream for stale cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And it says large curd 4%. Thank you. Thank you. All available in your dairy section.
Everybody's a comedian.
Everybody's funny.
And Dowd agrees as far as Ready Room. He says Wayne is painful to listen to, but I checked through to see the interviews and any clips they show. Now, I'm with you, Dowd. I just didn't know. I should have known because with Prodigy back, of course, the Ready Room is back finally. So
yeah,
it's so great.
He's trying to be. He's trying to be Chris Hardwick. That's what he's trying to be like the Talking Dead.
Yes, 100%. And it got even the guy who used to work with Hardwick, Matt Myra.
Yeah,
when he originally did the Ready Room, but he just has a different personality, and he was trying to rah, and it's just like,
Yeah, but Matt Myra's a comedian though, so he has a personality.
Yeah, but his Ready Room wasn't better either. Yeah, I agree with Wayne. Wayne shaking his head no. Yeah, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Again, it's what are you gonna do? It is.
Yeah, we got that Ready Room up here. We did not get the other ones.
Oh.
Well, they're on YouTube if you want to watch them.
Remember when Mark Altman used to host the Sci-Fi channel that was like Entertainment Tonight, but it was sci-fi stuff? Yeah. And then it was replaced by Robert Lodge.
Yes.
Robert Lodge.
Yeah. And then Chase Masterson used to be on that show.
Yes,
too.
I remember.
Yeah.
Those were the 90s,
Yeah, the 90s, yeah. With the blue screen. Yeah.
And Wayne, what was that Canadian show with the kids where they talked about comic books and stuff?
The kids. Oh, G4?
Prisoners of Gravity?
Not Prisoners of Gravity. It was after that. It was late 90s. You know what I'm talking about?
There was Ink. But that was the lead singer from the Headstones. The lead singer from the Headstones actually had a
comic show?
Yeah, a comic show where he did interviews and everything and went through the history of comics.
A Canadian thing.
It was a Canadian thing. Hey, every now and then, God bless the Canadians. Oh, yes, and thank you, Wayne. Hold it up.
It was Inked. Yeah, it was actually called Inked. It was on IFC for you U.S. guys. But, yeah, we got it up here, and it's the lead singer from the Headstones. Canadian band.
Mitch,
he was also in Flashpoint, if you watch Flashpoint.
We don't care.
Okay.
What the hell's the head? What the hell's the head?
Wow.
The Headstones.
I am going to give it up to Wayne for sending us all incredible communicators that are so perfect. They are amazing. And
watch me use my technology.
Look at that. Look at that.
Come on.
Look at how that just opened up like that. It's amazing.
Push a button to hear whose voices we could hear.
Oh, I haven't charged mine.
Mine's not charged either. I was away for a while.
I was playing with it.
But you could hear, Enterprise Kirk here and some various other characters.
And we can Bluetooth it to our phone. Mitch and I were talking to each other.
Here's a little charging. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. No, it's awesome. It's fantastic. Can't thank you enough, man.
What do we have for him, Johnny?
Exactly.
Look what my sister gave me.
Oh, stand by. Stand by. Hold on.
Oh,
just to land on Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. Look at that.
Wow. What's the drawing on the bottom? Is that a plaque?
Yeah.
That's nice.
I know. You know what's so funny? She, a friend of hers said, "Oh, your brother likes Star Trek, right? I got a Patrick Stewart, Leonard Nimoy, and Majel Barrett autograph plaque. You want them?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And my wife goes, "What are we doing with that?" I go, "Don't worry about it, honey. It's down.
It's our retirement, honey. This is our retirement right here."
No, it's
whole $30.
If it's made to be a collectible, ironically, it's not.
I know.
I realize you know that. But I was watching Pawn Stars.
Oh,
They had a new episode, and they had something, and Corey said it, and it's like, yeah, it's true. It's sadly true. God, I mean, well before all the nerd memorabilia like that, I went through that with sports in the 90s and being on sports radio, and it's like, I don't know how to break it to you, but that $8.99 thing you bought, it's worth $8.99, and it's never going to be worth more.
This is from 1991, one of 2,500 Leonard Nimoy. Yeah,
and maybe because of the autograph, it might be. I don't know what the lady paid for it. The lady,
it's worth to me,
right? Oh no, that's the thing. It's like no, and I used to say this about sports. It's like if you love Willie Mays
Yeah.
and you got a collectible with Willie Mays' autograph,
Yeah.
enjoy it for what it is. It is not an investment in your kid's college future fund. It's just not. I'm sorry. I don't know how to break it to you. But yeah, what are you going
Oh,
to do?
apparently there's some breaking news here
Uh-oh.
that the Sandman has been renewed for season 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually
Wow.
Dow was trying to get us to talk about that, and yeah, that's great.
On Netflix.
I loved the first season. Loved it.
Sure. No,
Oh.
they know what they're doing. That's good to hear. So I'm for it.
Oh, and Wonder Man got cast on Marvel.
I saw that as well.
I don't know the actor,
cool.
but I was like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I never heard of the actor either, but it's
guys
great.
are nerds.
Don't know. I don't know. It was a
Nerds.
It was a black actor.
Let's
I
zoom in
didn't
on
know his
Franco's
name.
shelves there as he calls us nerds. All right.
Yeah.
Don't look at anything on my shelves, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let me see here. Franco, huh?
You just held up your communicator, nerd.
Regrettable superheroes. Oh, let's see.
Indeed. I love that book. Those are fun.
I know.
I didn't realize that, Langley. The guy who's playing Wonder Man was Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen show.
Oh, okay. I know who it is now. Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
And yes, I'm doubt by the way, or who had it. Ed had it. The Canadian comic book show is trying to
Anti-Gravity Room.
The Anti-Gravity Room, indeed.
Yeah, that guy wasn't on the headstone.
It was 3 kids. It was a girl and 2 guys. And I remember they interviewed Mike Carlin about the Superman books. And he used to be on Sci-Fi Channel. Anti-Gravity Room.
Oh, speaking of which.
Oh, and I didn't know. Langley says he was also Black Manta.
Oh, it's the same guy?
Yes. There you go.
Well, I could have got that guy for Terrificon. God damn it. Hey.
Well, now you got to get him.
Real quick.
Sure.
I know you're the man who interviews everybody, but I got to plug this. David Armstrong. If you've never heard of David Armstrong, he's like a comic book historian type of guy. He just put up on YouTube amazing production quality videos of John Romita Sr., John Buscema, Joe Giella, Marie Severin, all these great legendary comic book creators. He interviewed them in the early 2000s as part of a project because they were getting up there in age.
Sure.
And he said, I don't want to lose all these great stories. They're like 45 minutes to an hour long interviews with the legends of the comic industry. And Erwin Hazen's on it and all that stuff. I met him at Baltimore. He was in Shakin's booth. He's a Connecticut guy. We started going back and forth about the similar people, but there are, if you get a chance, just go on YouTube, just like look John Romita interview, and you'll start to see there's like 30 of them. And
wow. So they're just free on YouTube?
Yeah, he just uploaded them like 2 weeks ago. He's had them forever, and he converted them to, whatever, 4K or whatever.
Yeah,
but they're great. They look great. But to hear John Buscema talking about working with Jack Kirby and Joe Manili teaching John Romita Sr. how to draw, and it's like history of comics.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, I put a couple up on the Terrificon page, but yeah, definitely check them out.
That's excellent, man.
A lot of history.
That's great to hear. Larry from Moondog Comics, which was a big chain here in Chicago, started re-releasing his audios. He had a local radio station Saturday morning show where he interviewed a lot of people. And among the people he interviewed was Vince Sullivan, who was part of the original group that created the first issue of Action Comics and very, very involved with Siegel and Schuster with the formative early years of Superman. And he had a lot of great classic interviews that he did with people like Erwin Hazen and Romita Sr. and everybody else. So, no, I love that stuff is out there now, and I'm all for it. So, yeah, I think that's great.
The page is called Comic Book Historians on YouTube. I just looked it up.
I will check it out.
CBH, Comic Book Historians.
Sounds good. All right, boys, we're at almost we're at an hour and 50, so we could wrap.
We went on for an hour, 45 minutes too long.
Well, we were on for a week, so we needed to catch up and everything. But I hope everyone enjoyed the chat, and we'll be back hopefully next week with new episodes of Prodigy and Quantum Leap and
Black Panther review with Namor.
There you go, and Wakanda Forever coming on November 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
So we may or may not have seen that by the time of our next episode. But here, I'm just checking anybody else. Langley, thank you again. And Dowd, good night, everybody. He's Bob Hope for us. So thank you. But yeah, catch us next time on the next All Yeah Trek Watch. Take it easy. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.